Hi, I'm Tyler Adcock, sitting down with a Shields manager, Kylie Fields. Kylie, how about you tell me a little about yourself and Shields?
Well, I started working at Shields when I was 16 years old. I am now a manager of the women's athletic shop. Shields is a sporting goods store. It's primarily in the north. However, we are moving to the south, opening up our biggest store yet in Texas between Fort Worth and Dallas. Um, Shields has been open for a really long time. It started out actually as a hardware store and eventually became a sporting goods store.
Okay. So I have 5 questions I'd like to ask you here. The first one being, what are the business trends in the retailing sector you are in?
So the business trends that are happening in the sporting goods store world, what I would call it, is the loyalty programs. When it comes to sporting goods stores, you have a lot of the same things being sold. Brands, everyone wants brand names when it comes to sporting goods. Your Nike, your Under Armour, those are pretty primary. So you have to set yourself apart from other stores such as Dick's Sporting Goods, for example. And the biggest trend would be the loyalty programs, getting a card, getting points every time you spend money on the card, instances like that.
Okay. What are the opportunities and the threats for your company, store, in the retailing sector you are in?
Well, there's always opportunity. Threats, I would say our biggest threat would be competitive stores because we offer the same thing. It's not really a market where you can really diversify in what you're selling because everyone is after the same materials and same items. So that is a threat, is other stores competing with us and trying to outcompete us. Opportunities, there's always opportunities for growth. I don't really see there not being a need for sporting goods or, your athletic clothing in the near future. It's pretty much been a trend forever. So I would say our biggest threat would be competitors and how they are handling trying to be better than us.
Okay. What are the strengths and weaknesses of your company and your store?
Well, first off, our strengths. We have a really good atmosphere. Our biggest strength is our number one priority is the customer. You walk into our store, you walk upstairs to only where employees can go, and it does not say that you have a boss or a manager like myself. The manager and your boss is the customer, and I think that is very much a strength we have, and that's what sets us apart from other stores. We try to be as helpful as possible without being aggressive about it. Customer service is key. If a customer comes in and they've worn a pair of shoes for 2 whole weeks and they hate it, got blisters, don't want them anymore, we'll take them back, no problem. That kind of stuff makes you a stronger company, makes people come back. Returning customers are the biggest profit we can have, so the more that we can satisfy the customer, the more we have returning customers saying that you should go here instead of here, that would be a really big strength. A weakness within the company is maybe sometimes we are a little lenient with our customer service and say there is a guy who walks 20 miles in a pair of shoes and decides they hate them. Sometimes they can abuse that power and do that with 3 more pairs of shoes, but I think that we handle it properly, and I think the customer respects us enough for doing it in the first place that they don't tend to do it very often, but you always have those instances where customers will try to walk all over you since you are trying to go above and beyond for them, trying to set yourself apart. That's probably our biggest weakness. I really think our customer service is above and beyond compared to most other sporting goods stores. So I really think we have more weaknesses, or we have more strengths than weaknesses.
Okay. What problems, challenges do you face within your company?
Problems and challenges, just like almost every retail store, there can always be a high turnover rate, which can be a challenge. You want to keep good employees. You want to hire good employees. We get a lot of young kids. I'm young myself, and I've been there since 2016, and I've already moved up to management. So I mean, they try to treat their employees very well. However, you get young employees that want to come in here, which is great because it creates a good atmosphere, a welcoming environment for younger generations, especially they're the main people coming and buying. However, we try to keep a good ethics within the store, and the challenge is keeping people wanting to work. It's a retail store. You have terrible hours. It's open 9 to 9 every day, 7 days a week. So yeah, you have to work weekends. You have to work holidays. Holidays are the busiest time of year. So that is a challenge because people don't want to do that. So we try to reward our customers. No, we try to reward our employees by working those extra hours and them being compensated for it.
Okay. How do you plan to solve these problems and challenges that you just discussed?
I mean, I've kind of went over that, but so like I said, our two biggest challenges are keeping employees, which we do have employees that have been there for over 20 years. So it's really not that much of a challenge anymore just because of how great the incentives are for working there, and competitors, just because the market we're in, it's very accessible to order things online, get them from other stores. Like you can walk into our store and probably go 2 miles down the road and buy the same thing somewhere else. So that is one of the biggest problems we have. However, we are really focused on the customer service aspect and getting customers to have the want to come back to our store and talk to us instead of other people. And there are people that come in the store and immediately ask for a certain salesperson. We want you this, and we want you to get it for us because we know that you can get the job done. So that has been really beneficial. We always actually hire more employees than most stores. You usually see about 3 associates walking around in different sections. We'll have 5 per section. So I'm in women's athletic. There will always be 5 sales associates or people there to help you. Obviously, if it's a slow day, we'll send some of those 5 people home. However, it's just really nice to know that if there is a customer that wants something down from the top rack, that they don't have to get it. That is our priority. You should not have to work at getting what you're going to buy. You're already doing a service for us by buying, so we will do the service for you and go above and beyond and make sure you are satisfied. We have a really good employees incentive program. So when you work at Scheels, you get a discount, which is cost. So whatever it takes the company to buy this item is what you will buy the item for. You will have to pay taxes on it. However, it's a really good program. I know that it's really nice that I can buy my family's Christmas for way less than I could ever imagine. You get good incentives if you make sales goals. You get more money on top of that. You get bonuses. You get commission. Anytime a customer even compliments you, the store gives you $5 cash just because somebody came up and said, wow, so-and-so helped me and they were great and I really enjoyed working with them. You automatically get $5 cash right there. And sometimes you get more than that. If they brag about you, you may get $20. We do fun little games while you're working. It's called bingo. If you sell certain items, you could check them off the bingo card, and if you get a bingo, you get $20. And if you get another bingo, you get $25 more. And stuff like that makes people want to come to work, makes people want to work hard. So the challenges and problems aren't really problems, they're just obstacles you have to overcome, and they're easily avoided. And if you treat the customer right and you treat your employee right, you shouldn't really have a problem.
So what my goal was here was the category specialist. Now, people may not know it, but Scheels is very specific in each department. Like you are a manager in the women's department. So if you can kind of break that down, you have the women's, the shoes. Everyone is very diversified, but everyone has their own department. So could you break down why and how you see maybe that benefits or doesn't benefit?
So Scheels has specialty shops. So I am actually not the manager of the women's department. I am the manager of women's athletic. Now there is a women's sportswear department, which you would think women's sportswear and athletic is the same thing. It is completely different. Women's sportswear will be your yoga, your loungewear, your like North Face clothing, your Adidas clothing, and athletic would be your Nike, your Under Armour, your Champion, things like that. And then you also have a women's fashion manager. So there is a whole entire women's section, and in the whole women's section there are 3 different managers who will deal with. There's a swim manager, and like I said, there's fashion, there's sportswear, there's athletic. In the shoe shop you have women's fashion shoes and you have women's sports shoes, and then you have men's, it's called fashion shoes, men don't like it when it's called that way, and it's called men's athletic shoes. There are, you would think, one shop, but really they're separated into different shops, and as what I think you're describing right now, it's really beneficial because we like to call ourselves experts. That way we can sell anything in the store. We can help you get that. We can tell you how it works and how it'll be beneficial for you. But when you specialize in a certain shop like that, you are able to go above and beyond and explain to the customer why it would be so beneficial for them to buy the item. I think, for example, in women's athletic shop, I get a lot of people training for marathons and triathlons, and they need not just any form of spandex, they need a spandex that doesn't rub, doesn't chafe. Well, I was able to go to Nike University and learn all about Nike headquarters. I got to learn all about Nike and how their different kinds of fabrics and how they're woven. It helps prevent things like that. I think one of the greatest specialty shops there are is athletic shoes, because you may think you have back problems when really it's your feet. You're in the wrong pair of shoes and that's what hurts your back. The shoe department, I think, is amazing. You can learn so many things about your feet. I thought I only needed to wear Nike my whole entire life, and I'm not saying Nike is bad, but I wear a brand called Brooks, a completely different brand than I thought I would ever wear, but ever since I've worn them, my feet have felt great. I can work a 12-hour shift on my feet all day on the floor, working the athletic shop, and not have a single problem. And that's all because somebody got to attend Shoe University and become an expert in shoes and be able to really satisfy the customer and get them what they need.
Okay, you use the word expert a lot, and I like that term because you guys have all the knowledge and all the products, and to help people know what they need or even what they want and help them get what they need. Mm-hmm. Now, how do you become, an expert? You talked about going to university, so if you could give us a little more.
Okay, so they go to universities, happen once a year. They have universities for everything. Not just Scheels can attend them. There's many other stores that can. Scheels is the biggest retail store that attends them. We try to be experts, like you said. So we, every Tuesday night after the store closes, and sometimes the meeting is an hour, sometimes it's 2 hours, sometimes it's 3 hours. That's just part of the job. You get paid for it. So you spend at least that hour learning about product. I know an hour doesn't seem like a long time, but when you are in depth looking at products inside of your shop, you can really know how they work and who they would be ideal for. So you have to take the time and learn. It's called product knowledge. PK meetings is what everyone in the store who sells, who is an associate, must attend. It's required, which a lot of people would, I'm sure, think like, man, that's such a burden. It's really not. Most people enjoy it. The company provides you meals and everything else while you're doing it, so it's really worth it. You really get, when you have the product knowledge, you are able to, like I said, go above and beyond for the customer. They come in there, I want all the Nike t-shirts you have that I won't sweat in and won't chafe on my arm area when I'm running. Well, I know products so well that you don't want this Nike shirt. You want this Under Armour shirt that has this Pro Glide on the sides that you will need because no matter what, you won't chafe. Things like that. And attending universities, you may be at university for a whole week, you may be there for 3 days, but for 8 hours for multiple days straight, you are learning about products and becoming an expert in those products so you can completely satisfy the customer.
Okay. I think the reason I like Shields is because they're experts. You know, they actually know the product, and it's what sets you apart. I mean, do you think that Shields is going to continue to grow because you guys are experts as opposed to like Dick's, you know, one of your other sporting goods place? You walk into a store like Dick's, you don't get the service, you don't get the knowledge. Do you think that's what sets you guys apart and drives more customers to come your way?
I 110% agree with that. Shields, their number one priority is customer service. And whether we take a loss because we are giving you customer service, we are okay with that, because at the end of the day, our main goal is customer service. And I think that is what truly sets us apart from any other retail store, whether it be grocery stores, athletic stores, or just regular clothing stores. Customer service at the end of the day is what people are looking for. And I really think that is what sets us apart. You usually don't walk into a Dick's Sporting Goods and be like, wow, this guy just greeted me and he made me feel so good about myself. I don't truly honestly think that happens. At Shields, we do this thing called Cop Shop, and we will dress in our everyday clothes and go to other stores and see what they are doing and compare it to what we are doing. Maybe we find we are doing things wrong, or we'll look at displays and be like, wow, we could display these items like this and it would be really cool and look really good in our store. Or we could be like, wow, this customer service was terrible, I can't even get a fitting room here. So that kind of thing is what sets us apart. We go above and beyond to be not the best. It's not that we need to be number one, but what we do with customer service, I think, is what makes us number one. We started out with 2 stores, one in Fargo, North Dakota, and the other one in South Dakota. And let me tell you, those states, there's not a lot of people that live there. Now we have grown so much that we have 25 stores, one currently being built, the biggest one yet, in Texas. So we are definitely growing, and we've kind of started up north and we moved our way south, and I think we're going to try and go outward now to the east and west, and I think we'll really be able to do that because our stores have not taken a loss in over 10 years. So we have always been very successful within the stores, and I think we are successful because we make customer service our number one priority.
Okay, you talked about, customer service is Shields' priority. What do you do about the customers? When I walk into a store sometimes, I don't always want helped. You guys always greet people through the door, but how do you handle those troubled employees that don't want your expert opinion? They would know what they want, and they don't want the extra help to go along the way. So what do you do in situations where they don't want the help, but maybe they even need the help too?
Okay, so yes, we do have sales associates on the floor. Yes, they make commission, but they are thoroughly trained and told that you aren't supposed to be an aggressive seller. You do not want people to know you make commission off of them. You want people to feel good and make sure and let them know that you are here to help them. Selling is not the priority. And when you treat it like this, you end up selling more because people ultimately like you better. So that you always get that customer who's like, hi, hello, can I help you today? No, I'm fine. Okay, that's great. You don't have to be pushy. My name's Kylie. Tell them your name. My name's Kylie. If you need any help, I will be right over here. Don't be afraid to ask. And more often than not, if they actually need help, they will ask. Or you can keep an eye on them. Don't stalk them, but you can keep an eye on them. And once you see them struggling or trying to make a decision, because you can always ultimately tell when a customer actually needs help. You can see it on their face. You can see it in their expressions. Go back in and be like, hey, you're still doing okay? And more often than not, probably 99% of the time, the customer will end up opening up to you, talking, and you can end up helping them. And more often than not, the customer is holding the wrong item that they want, and you can convince them that they need this other item, and they end up coming back and explaining to you how helpful you were and how much that item really was beneficial to them.
The other thing that I find unique about selling at Shields, you guys have a sell approach. Can you talk about your guys' approach?
Yes, so Like I said, we do have sales associates. We do work off commission. We have a sales approach or technique, however you want to call it. And you actually have to follow this in order to be able to commission something. I think it helps with preventing commission fraud and just implementing a strong program that everyone can follow. That way there are no gray areas. You start out a sale by your closing, or you start out a sale by your greeting. Hi, hello, maybe even how's the weather outside? It was supposed to rain today. Has it rained yet? What are you doing here? How are you? Anything like that. Just start a conversation. It doesn't even have to be, can I help you? It can be, but really anything. Hi, what's your name? And then you start out by qualifying for the sale. What are you looking for? What do you need this for? Why are you here? You just want to qualify and make them like aware that you are genuinely worried and want to help them and want to get them what they need. And after that, you have to gain credibility. So after you have opened the sale with your greeting, and after you have qualified for the sale, as in you've asked them what they need or have figured out what they need, you then have to gain credibility for it. So I can't just be like, oh, you need a Nike t-shirt, here's your Nike t-shirt. No, this Nike t-shirt has thread stop material, so it is very prevented from holes. I know that lots of t-shirts get holes in them. Nike and Under Armour both have this thread-borne technology, and it prevents holes, and they have breathable fabric that makes you, when you are sweating in them, you're not just sitting there baking in sweat. It will dry faster. Nike's Dry Fit, Under Armour's thread-borne. Stuff like that. So you're gaining credibility. You're telling them that you are knowledgeable about the product that you are selling. So then they're like, wow, you actually do know what you're talking about, and I should really buy from you if you actually know what you're talking about, and I will get what I need. And then after that, you close the sale. And a sales closing is not, so are you going to buy this today? No. Closing the sale is, can I help you with anything else? A big thing in sales is items per sale, your IPS. When you have a high IPS, you're selling more that way, and you're making more commission. Now, this is not being pushy, but oh, you're training for a marathon. You are buying 12 new t-shirts and tank tops to run in. How about a headband to hold all your sweat and hair back? Or how about some socks that prevent blisters or have extra cushion in them for your feet? Stuff like that, to where they know like you are still caring for them and want them to be satisfied with what they are getting, but you are also helping the company and the business by getting that extra item onto that sale. And that's how you close it.
Okay. I really appreciate your time, Kylie. I'm happy we got to sit down and talk about this. Shields is one of my favorite places to shop because of your guys' customer service, and you're all about the customer. So I really appreciate your time and sitting down with me and talking this through. Thank you.
You're welcome.